Hello everybody. Today I want to show you how to install a static IP address on a Dell 2335. It's right here. It's really small. 2335DN. So right now this printer has DHCP IP addressing, so which means like you just literally plug it into your router, and then the router tells the printer, "Hey, this is your IP address." The problem with that is, if I unplug it, so this white cable, network cable goes to the printer. This is the laptop. If I unplug this and plug it back in, it's gonna send a different IP address to the printer. It might not always be the same, and or like let's say you have a power outage or something, right? And you have 10 different things connected to the router, 10 different computers. When you power back on, the router could issue all the devices different IP addresses. And the problem is when this is not a static IP address, when it's dynamic and it changes, when you go to print next time, the Windows is going to say, "Hey, there's no printer there. There's nothing to print. There's no printer there," because whatever originally what the IP address was, you told Windows that this is the IP address for the printer, but then the router changed the IP address to the printer. Then the IP address here and the IP address here do not match, so therefore you get a printer error. What we want to do is we want to make this an IP address that's static. So this is how you do it. It's not hard. There's a few steps involved. I went to I basically Googled Dell 2335DN, right? And it's like the first or second link down there. I download the driver. It's this one here. Application. This driver is actually like a bunch of software stuck together, and I don't want to install all the software. I just want a few things on there. So I stuck it on the desktop. It downloads as a zip file. I unzipped it. So, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to install the file, right? So go ahead. I'm going to double click on that. Of course, I want it, yes. And over here you put network installation, not personal installation. Personal would be USB. We're not doing USB. Put next. Local installation. It's a local network printer. So next, right here, it's gonna should find the printer pretty fast, I think. Hopefully doesn't take too much time. If it takes longer, then I'm gonna have to pause it. Alright, let me pause it and I'll come back. Oh, there it is, it found it. So basically there it is, 192.168.1.101. Okay, so right now the router issued this printer that IP address, okay? But we want to take the router equation out of it. So I'm going to select it because I do want to install the drivers, but I'm just going to, so this is just temporary. Next. Yes, next. Typical installation. I want to do a custom installation here. You could, because I don't want to install the stuff. I do not want the Dell. I don't care for the PC fax. I don't care the printer settings utility. I don't care for that. Set IP address, firmware update utility. I already updated the firmware on this. I don't need that. Scan manager utility. I don't need that either. This is the only one I want. The setup IP address. Everything else I don't need. Okay, so go ahead. I'm going to install it. So it's installing the driver plus that one software that I selected. I'm not sure. I think I'm just going to pause here and come back when it's done. Alright, so we're back. It loaded, and here we go. It's device and printers, and the printers right here, 2335DN. And it asks me, do you want to print setup. Do you want, no, not here, not that. Close that. Close that. Print test page. Yes, let's do that. Let's print test page. So you can see, let's go to the test page. And there you go. There it is. The problem is, I do not want, right now it's DHCP IP address. I do not want that. Here is the thing, okay? First thing you got to do is go into your router. I already logged into my router, so this is my router. I logged into my router, and you need to check to see what your DHCP settings are. So my DHCP settings is this, okay? Starting IP address, it starts at 100, okay? So 192.168.1.1.100, okay? That's where the automatically the router is going to start issuing IP addresses, starting from 100. Max's number of users is 50, okay? So basically what happens is if it's 50 users, from 100 to 149, it's exactly 50 users. Now, some routers are set up differently where it actually gives you a range and you just stick in the range. I want the IP addresses, the DHCP IP addresses to be between these ranges, okay? Which is good. Well, our router IP is this one here, 192.168.1.1. We cannot have the same IP address for the printer as for the router, okay? So we can put any IP address above the printer and above the router. So I can go 192.116.1.2 all the way up to 0.99. Okay. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna make it 0.2. Okay. I can make it any one I want. I can make it 0.99. I cannot make it 0.1, and I cannot make it above like 100 and above. It has to be static, where the router does not touch it. Okay, so that's what you need to do on your router. Is you need to find your what your DHCP range is, and if it's too much, you can make it. So let's say your DHCP range is 192.168.1.2 all the way up to 255. I think it can go up to, but you don't want that. You want to say I'm going to make my DHCP start at 0.50. Okay, so then you can use anything from 0.2 to 0.49. You can program your printer as a static IP anywhere between that. So it all depends what you do in your router is what IP address you want to put there. Okay, so mine's already set up fine. I'm going to use 0.2 for my printer. Okay, so what I want to do is my IP address, it just printed this out right there. So it's 192.168.1.101. Okay, that is what the router gave the printer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a new window. I'm going to type 192.168. Yep, I'll put 186. 68.1.101. Because what this does, I'm actually going to access the settings inside the printer through the browser. And voila, this is the printer. I go to printer settings. Actually, we're printer server settings right there. And then I say printer server settings again. I put right here is TCP IP. Click on TCP IP. And right here where it says DHCP, just click that down to static. Boom. And right here, I want it to be 2. So everything else stays the same. You just change the IP address. Just 2, and you have to put that to static. Okay? You come down here, and you put submit. Yes, I want to submit. Okay, that's done. I think, and right now it's showing me the connection was reset. Yes, there you go. And it reset it for me. Now went back to 192.168.1.2. Now I'm using Google. If you use another web browser, I recommend just using Google because I know it works with Google. You could use another web browser. I'm not going to say what, but whatever, I guess. So that's done. Okay, we're done with that. Now what we do, we go to here, control panel. No, actually not control panel. I need to go to printers. Sorry. With Windows, you can actually go directly to printer, device and printers. And you can see it's right here. It even says ready for me. So let's see. Properties. No, not properties. I just got to make sure that printer properties. Okay, so right here, ports. You'll see ports here. And let's make this a little bit wider and see what is selected here. So right now it's selected 192.168.1.101. Okay, that's technically not good because right now this is not going to work. There's 2 ways to do it. You can actually select a different, you can add a port. You can just change your add a port, standard TCP/IP port. You could put new port, next, and just put 192.168. So 192.168. 68.1.2. Okay, and just put next, finish. Okay, close. Now you can see over here, if I make this go over, not this one, this one. You can see now the 192.168.1.2.2 is checked. And you can put apply, okay, and now it should print. I'm going to print a test page, printer properties, print test page, and it should work. There it is, the print. Now there is one other way to do it. Maybe it's simpler. There it is, boom. It could be simpler for you if you don't want to do it that way. You could actually just click with your right and remove device. You can actually remove this. Yes, boom, it's removed. And then add printer, add network printer. It's going to search it. It's going to find it. Put next. And then you have to go down. Here's Dell. Select Dell. It's 2335DN and MFP. Multifunction P device. Put next. And just push replace current driver. Don't use existing driver. Just replace the current driver. Put next. Put next. It's going to install. Print test page. And there you go. And that's it. And there we have it. So I show you 2 ways to do it. Either way you do it, it's fine. Whichever you think is easier for you. I'm gonna just put finish here. So there it is. Now, if I shut down this laptop and disconnect everything, and if I disconnect this, and actually I'll show you. So this is. I'm just gonna power it down, and I'm gonna disconnect this. So when I power back up, right? If it was DHCP mode, the printer would go into 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 all across. It would make everything 0. And when I plug this in, the router would tell the printer what the IP address. But because this is static now, it always remains the same. It never changes. So I can literally, I took it out. I can literally just plug it back in like that, and I can make another test print. Actually, I'm wasting too much paper, so I'm gonna pull that out, put this paper facing up, white facing up. I'm gonna just check that. Yeah, check it. Okay. And then I'm gonna print another printer properties and print test page and close. There it is. Voila. So that's it. I mean, I could literally turn the router off, turn it back on. This printer is never going to go out of sync from this laptop ever. Okay, unless something really catastrophic happens, a virus or something, then it might. But if everything goes well, you will never have an issue where the printer all of a sudden, a network printer is never going to work. So if you have whatever 20 devices at home, you do the same thing to all of them. 20 whatever Mac or whatever you have. You just tell it that IP address. Tell the printer, hey, this is the IP address for that printer, and that's it. It works. Now, I'd like to say a few things about this printer. This is a very old printer. It's got over 100,000 printed pages on it. So there are a few things that I'm actually giving it to somebody, and I'm making this video to that person I'm giving it to know how to work with it. One issue, because it does have so many printed pages and the maintenance hasn't been done on it. One issue is when the paper goes too low down here, it sucks too many paper at one time. And it's happened to me where it like sucked like 10 pages at one time, and it gets stuck, and then you have to pull it all off, pull out the toner cartridge and whatever. So once it gets down to a quarter of an inch down here, I would just add more paper. Just add more paper and you'd be set. And the way you add paper, even the way you add paper is very important. And this is not just because this printer is old. You should do this to all the printers that you come across. What happens is over time, I'm going to do this. I'm not sure how good it's going to come. So basically, when you get your stack of paper, you want to go like this with it. I'm not sure if you can see that because I'm not holding the camera. And go this way with it, like that, right? Then you want to smack it on the table, like that. And then you want to feel that it feels really smooth. Usually one way will feel like see, this way feels kind of like jaggedy, but this way feels super smooth. So you want this super smooth. So basically, once you know it's super smooth, you want to take the paper and stick it in to the printer like this, because right here is where the paper pickup roller is, and it'll pick it up. And you only want it to pick up one paper at a time. You don't want it to pick up 2 or 3, right? I guess it's not a big deal if it picks up 2 or 3. The big deal comes when you're using the, let me pick up the, all right, the big deal is when you're using the duplexer, so to print, double-sided printing. If it picks up more than 2, it will get jammed in the duplexer, because the duplexer is not made to handle, it's only really made to handle 1 paper at a time. So if the duplexer does jam, the duplexer is back here, right here with this kind of like handle. This is where it jams. So you got to pull this out, and you got to pull out the paper from here. So there's your paper tray right there. So yeah, I mean it's as simple as that. Here's your power button, right? Here, this is just held magnetically, just a magnet. This is where the magnet sticks to, is this little metal piece here. Here, if you ever get a paper jam that's inside the fuser, you want to pull these out, pull them down, okay? And that disengages the roller, the top roller from the bottom roller, and then you can, if you have most of the paper right here, I would pull it this way. If most of the paper was on the other side of the fuser, you still need to do this, but then you'll have to pull out the fuser, which is very easy. Literally right here, you just crimp this, and this comes off, and then the fuser has just got this handle on it, and you just pull it out like that. Very easy. And in there, I don't know if you can see it, you'll see the fuser, and then you literally just slowly pull the paper back out, and that's pretty much it. Plug in the toner cartridge, push this back in, and that's it. So alright, so it's as simple as that. If you, I mean, you can easily connect a USB, but then you'll have to, when you go to the software, you'll have to select that it's USB. But when you put it, if you can have both, but you'll have two printers on your desktop. You'll have two printers here. One will be one, and then the second one will probably be USB. I would rename them then if you're gonna have two. One, rename it as whatever, MFP, and you could put USB, or in the other one you could put network, so that you could differentiate between the two. Because when you go to print, if you don't know which one to select, then you're just not gonna print right. So okay, I guess that's about it. I don't know what other, if there's any other things. It's good to blow out the printer. This is already blown out. I blew it out. I have a compressor in the garage. But it's good to blow it out once a year, because these printers do collect dust because they're static in there. The paper there's actually dust in the paper. Really fine dust, and actually builds up inside there. Paper pickup rollers. Just Windex. Take some Windex and you can actually pull them. This one you can't pull it out. This one here. This one here. Let's see. There. This one is actually, you can pull it out. It's very difficult. I'm sure there's YouTube videos that shows you how to pull this out. I've pulled this out before. It is a pain in the you-know-what. I would not do it. There are videos on YouTube that shows you how to do that. The one at the bottom, very easy to pull out. There's just that you just pinch it, and then it just slides out. I'm not sure if it slides this way or this way, but it just literally just slides out. It's very easy. I'm not sure how much they cost, but technically, if you just spray them down with some Windex and clean up with a non-dust cloth, you'll be good. Of course, you got your USB here. You can actually print a PDF from a USB, or you can actually tell it to print in PDF or JPEG. So let's say you have a bunch of images, but you don't want to print them. It'll actually stick a USB drive in there, and it'll actually save an image of what you scanned up here. I'm not really sure if this works. Haven't tried it. Let me see if I make a copy. Let's see. Alright, let's see, copy. Let's see, number of copies, 1. No, 1. 1, okay. Start. Is it gonna work? Don't know. Oh, sort of. Oh, it kinda is working. Okay, that's good. Hey, what happened? Oh! What happened? Where's my copy? Okay. Not sure why I did not receive a... Not sure what I did there. Anyway, I didn't. Let me try again. Oh. So I want a copy. Quick copy. Number of copies. 1. 1. And start. Yeah, this is not working so well. Oh, now it's doing something. Oh, ha! Well, here's the reason. Yeah, okay. I had this down, so it's just throwing them out here. Okay. So, did it work? Yeah, it looks like it did. Yeah, it did work. Okay. Well, whatever. It, but doesn't seem like the mechanism here works too well. It might just need to be opened up, and there's some rollers here. cleaned up or whatever, and then it might work fine. But anyway, I'm giving it to somebody, so I don't think they're going to use the fax on it. Yeah, one thing I do like about this printer is if I want to, I have all these printed pages, right, and I want to use the back of them, I literally put it with the white up, and then I have to check over here because I have to tell it what size it is, because it doesn't know what size you're putting here. So I'll check, okay, check it. And now if I print something, let's see, I'm gonna printer properties, and then print test page. It's gonna take it right from there. So there you go. You can double your paper by just doing that. I do that all the time with my other printer. Alright, I guess that's it. Over and out. Not sure what else. I think I'm pretty sure I covered everything. But if you have any questions, just feel free to ask me. The only thing maybe that I could go over, it looks like I only have like 2 minutes and 40 seconds on this, is the setup on your router. Mine is an older router, so the setup is easy. Yeah, just look up, just find. Sometimes I believe, see over here, it doesn't say LAN settings, but sometimes it's this feature here, your starting and your ending DHCP could be under LAN settings. Okay. It looks like I have some DHCP's reservation here. Look at that. So I actually could have done this way too. I could hold it here and say, for this laptop with this MAC address, I want the IP address always to be the same. So there's another way to do it. So you could have this DHCP. You could still have a DHCP, but you could make it so that I would still stick with IP with static, but there's another way to do. You can tell the router that this address always goes with this laptop. So that's a good way. So basically, what happens is the router links the MAC address with the IP address, and it never changes. So that's an interesting way to do it too. So in this way, you just leave this on automatic DHCP the whole entire time. But I don't know if your router has this feature. I didn't even know my router had this feature until I just saw it right now. So I personally like to know that it's static IP, because it just works. You never have any issues. But I'm thinking that probably should work quite well too. I guess it depends. If you switch your router out, then you'll have to redo it or something. But anyway, okay. Well, that's it. Over and out. Looks like I only got 40 seconds left. So yeah. If there's something that I missed or any questions, go ahead and just ask me. I'll try to get back to you guys as fast as possible. Sorry about this camera. Not the best camera in the world. It's just a regular point-and-shoot camera made by Nikon. It works okay for my purposes. Alright, that's it. Over and out.